Half a mile under the second pyramid of Giza, there is something with a spiral staircase wrapped around it, dropping into a room the size of a stadium. That's not a legend. That's what 4 satellites reportedly saw in March 2025. And within 72 hours, one of the most powerful men in Egyptology went on record calling it a lie. So, who's right? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes you're going to see the actual scan, the actual number 8 shafts, 2 chambers, half a mile down, and the actual fight that broke out over it. And by the end, you'll understand why even the archaeologists who think this specific claim is fake still can't explain what keeps turning up under that plateau every single year. Because here's the part nobody puts in the first 10 seconds of these videos. The room you're actually allowed to walk into inside the Pyramid of Khufu. The tomb is empty. No body, no treasure, no writing on the walls, just an open stone box sitting in the dark for 4,500 years, guarding nothing. What if that room was never the point? What if it was just the door? This isn't actually the first time someone has tried to X-ray this pyramid. Rewind to 1968. A Nobel Prize-winning physicist named Luis Alvarez had an idea: use cosmic rays, tiny particles called muons that rain down from space and pass through solid rock to see if there were hidden rooms inside Khafra. Think of it like a full-body CT scan, except the patient is a 500,000-ton pyramid. He ran the experiment for months. The result? Nothing. No secret chambers, no signal at all. For decades, that silence got treated as an answer. There's nothing else here. Case closed. But silence isn't proof. It just meant 1968 didn't have the right instrument yet. Fast forward almost 60 years, and the instrument finally showed up. If you're into real history and real mysteries backed by actual science, not just legend, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you helps me get there. All right, let's go back to Giza. In March 2025, an Italian-led group, a physicist, a radar specialist, and an independent explorer stood in front of cameras and announced they'd scanned straight through half a mile of solid limestone without touching a shovel. And that part isn't optional flair, it's the law. Nobody is allowed to drill into Giza anymore. The pyramids are protected sites now, and only non-destructive methods get permission on that plateau. So, there was no excavation, no core sample, no team on the ground with equipment. Just satellites aimed from orbit, using a method they call synthetic aperture radar, Doppler tomography, SAR, Doppler tomography for short. Strip away the jargon, and it works like this. Satellites already use radar to map what's under the ground. Oil companies do it. Water surveyors do it. The twist here is that solid rock actually trembles, constantly, in ways too small for a human to feel. Every tiny vibration slightly changes the radar signal bouncing back. Stack thousands of those tiny changes together from different angles, and you can start to build a 3D picture of empty space buried in solid stone, almost like reading the seafloor with sonar, except the ocean is rock. Here's the detail that made people sit up. They didn't run this once. They ran it through 4 completely separate satellite systems, including Italy's own Cosmos SkyMed. According to the team, all 4 came back with the same shapes in the same places. One weird reading could be noise. 4 unrelated systems agreeing? That's harder to wave away. Strip the discovery down to 3 pieces, because this is the part that makes people's jaws drop. Piece 1, 8 shafts. Not sloped tunnels, not cracks, straight vertical columns, sunk hundreds of meters into the rock, arranged in a pattern the team describes as deliberately symmetrical, and apparently linked not just to Khafra, but to all 3 pyramids at once, as if the whole plateau sits on one shared system. And each shaft, they say, is wrapped by something spiraling around it on the way down, which is a strange thing for nature to build on its own, since erosion doesn't usually spiral. Piece 2, 2 giant cube-shaped rooms. Over 3,500 feet down, deeper than most skyscrapers, are tall. The shafts allegedly open into 2 enormous chambers. roughly 260 feet on each side. That's bigger inside than most sports arenas. Water doesn't carve perfect cubes, neither does time. If this reading holds up, someone shaped it. Piece 3. A claim about what it's for. When asked what the buried network actually was, the radar engineer on the team didn't say tomb. He said the structure looked related to information that producing energy is itself a kind of information, and that the whole arrangement functioned less like a burial site and more like something that processes and holds. He put it simply, the pyramids on the surface are just the lid. The real object is underneath. That single idea connects to something people have argued for 2 centuries, that the pyramids weren't just tombs, but some kind of machine, a resonator, a power device, something engineered rather than ceremonial. Skeptics have always had one good comeback to that theory. Show me the mechanism. For the first time, someone claims to have found one. Quick pause. If you're into real history and real mysteries backed by actual science, not just legend, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you helps me get there. And if you've got a friend who'd geek out over this kind of thing, send them this video right now. Okay, back underground. Ancient Egyptian texts talk about hidden halls beneath sacred ground, guarded knowledge tied to Thoth, the god of writing and wisdom. For generations, historians filed that under religious storytelling, nice folklore, nothing literal. The team behind the 2025 scan pointed straight at those legends and said the buried chambers line up with them almost too well. Maybe that's a coincidence dressed up to sound dramatic. Or maybe a story that got repeated for thousands of years, started as somebody trying to describe something real in the only language they had. Within days, Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former antiquities minister and arguably the single most influential figure in the field, tore the claim apart publicly. He said there was no scientific basis for it. No permission was ever granted to scan inside or around the pyramid, and the radar method itself hadn't been validated for this kind of depth. His verdict, word for word in spirit, fake news. And some of his objections land. There's still no peer-reviewed paper. This was announced at a press conference, not published in a journal other scientists could pick apart. Independent radar experts point out that this scanning technique gets far less reliable the deeper you push it. And these claims are being made at a depth where it's already stretched thin. And the lead researcher on the project has a public history with UFO research and fringe pyramid theories, which hasn't exactly helped the credibility problem. To make it worse, the team also floated the idea that some of the structures could be 38,000 years old in number, with zero excavated evidence behind it. That would rewrite the entire timeline of civilization if it were ever confirmed. So let's be honest about where this actually sits. No, this doesn't prove there's an ancient machine under the pyramids. Not yet, maybe not ever. Set the disputed radar claim aside completely. Forget the cubes, forget the 38,000 years. Even the boring, cautious, fully peer-reviewed version of Giza is still strange. In 2017, the Scan Pyramids project used muon scanning, the same basic idea Alvarez tried in 1968, just decades more advanced, and found a genuine hidden void above the Grand Gallery inside Khufu's pyramid. Published in Nature, accepted by the mainstream. In 2023, the same method confirmed a hidden corridor behind the north face of that same pyramid, also peer-reviewed. In 2024, a team scanning the cemetery beside the Great Pyramid found an L-shaped anomaly a few feet down, sitting above something deeper that reads as unusually resistant to electrical current. The researcher leading that scan pointed out plainly that an L shape doesn't occur naturally in rock like that. And in early 2025, a separate German-Egyptian team confirmed 2 air-filled voids behind the polished granite face of the smallest pyramid, Menkaur's, a discovery that made it into the published literature with an actual DOI, not a headline. Every single one of those is accepted science. no UFO researchers involved. And every single one points the same direction, down and hollow. So here's where it honestly stands. The pyramid is real, sitting exactly where it's always sat. The controversial scan happened, and the team stands behind it. The most powerful gatekeeper in Egyptology says it's worthless. No journal has weighed in yet, no excavation has been approved, and given the cost and the politics, one might not be approved for years. Reaching a single sealed door inside Khufu's pyramid already took years of negotiation with robots. Drilling half a mile down to check a disputed chamber is not a weekend project. It's a national decision nobody has made. Meanwhile, 4 satellites agree on something. 2 centuries of engineers have insisted the pyramids were built to do more than hold a body. And every confirmed, peer-reviewed scan of this plateau for the last decade keeps finding the same thing: more empty space than anyone expected. Maybe it's limestone doing what limestone does. Or maybe the 3 triangles everyone photographs really are just the lid, and the actual object is still down there, sealed, waiting for someone with permission and a drill. Subscribe if you haven't already. The next video is already waiting for you on screen. See you there.